Beautiful fish. It's extremely clear. A little bit tangled up. Healthy brown. There you are, big boy. I got you again. Well, top of the morning to you. Today's August 29th. It's your boy A-Dub's birthday. We decided to treat ourselves to some fishing gear. I went on Tackle Warehouse. I got me, what does that say? Limited edition. What? So this was really spurred on, I should say, by the local pond that's been available to me. Actually, a lake. Lots of vegetation. I'm finding myself either needing to punch or to frog, and being that I really only have kind of light and ultralight setups at the moment, I was missing out. I couldn't really, I could jig, but I'm with that ALO, that F0, the ultralight. There's not a whole lot of backbone. There is towards the bottom, but it feels mushy when you jig. Now, normally, if you're jigging and you downsize your jigs, if you go light enough, your action will change, because action is measured under load. So under a certain weight, you'll start to get that bend. You'll notice with less pressure at the tip of most rods that are moderate or slow, they tend to become fast. And the ALO is listed as a fast to moderate rod. So on these, like, total weight, like 1/8 ounce, like these 1/32 jigs with tiny 2-inch trailers, I was able to jig it, but pulling through the grass was a whole nother game. It just hopping on the bottom or dragging it, it felt okay. The sensitivity was there. But as soon as I was getting snagged, dude, I was just bowing out with the rod. So I decided to go with this right here. This is on sale at Tackle Warehouse. So if you're in the market, this is a really good option. I think it's around $280 normally. I'm pretty sure I picked it up for $175. You'll have to price check me on that. But this is the Arc, the same people that make the Gravity reel, a highly touted BFS reel. This is their medium light, so it's the Invoker, which is why I guess we have IVL. I'm not really sure what L is, but it's a 6'6". It's a medium light, and they say it's moderate, but again, like I said, they'll list it as regular action. I'm pretty sure that means moderate. But again, with a medium light rod, if you are doing BFS, medium light with a moderate action should be ideal. So we're going to test this out. And that's just part of the birthday goodies here today. It's a little rainy out. I mean, it's cool that they did this rod sock, but I'm going to be putting on a Busby rod cover. I already have one. I bought two at once, and I was like, this, is a little bit big for one of my rods that's under 6 feet, so I decided to try and sell this. But luckily, it did not sell on eBay because I ordered this, and now I got it to go with there. So this wasn't really self-birthday gift, but it's going to end up being that because it's unopened, clearly. And that'll go with the rod, which we are putting down right now. Let me go grab a knife, and we'll get into the other stuff. We're looking a little rusty on this guy, but this should work out just fine. So, what do we have to go with this? We have some paper. All right, that's good for fishing. Got a receipt. You don't need to see that. Free t-shirt because the order was over a certain amount, so I went with that black and yellow Tackle Warehouse. Much appreciated. Always love free gear. So I was talking about vegetation. We're going to test this rod out not only with jigging, trying to punch through, but we're going to be frogging. So I found these. It was really hard to find a frog that was under a ½ ounce. ½ ounce is the top weight of this, so technically I could throw that, but I still want to stay finessey, so I got these Poppin' Pad Crasher Juniors from Booyah Bait Company. It's a 4-pack. They claim over $30 value. I think I paid just under $20 for these. So it's a 4-pack of, I want to say they're like 1/4 ounce frogs. So they're definitely downsized. Take a peek in there. Actually, let's see if we can cut this open. I'm guessing the hinge is on the other side. Nope, you gotta cut it both sides. It opens from the front. Ugh. And of course, I need to get a non-rusty blade on that thing at some point, but we're filming out in a little bit of rain, so let's keep the rusty guy on. Wow. What is going on here? There we go. So the 4-pack comes with, let's see here. I don't really want to take them all out because I'm actually gonna give a couple to my son, because I don't need. But you got kind of a muted green and black, darker color. That'll be good for something like today. You've got this kind of brownish yellow light colored belly. It's got a hint of yellow right at the jaw, and these almost look like they have a popping cup on the front. I'll have to test that out and see if I get that water displacement that you get with cupped poppers. But this is kind of that muddy good color for around here. This is actually closer to what you would see naturally in my area, so that's going to be a good one. What else we got? We've got kind of this lighter color. You normally see this in spring around where I am. Around fall, everything tends to get darker, more browns, but during spring you can find a lot of green frogs, so this might be the frogging setup for next spring, or the frog of choice, I should say, for next spring. And lastly, you get kind of a mix. It's a little bit dark towards the back, lighter towards the front, solid, solid yellowish green, like tennis ball color belly. Um, they all have the same eyes. It's, this kind of bronze around gold, and then the pupil in there. So, um, this is a nice mix. This might be the all-arounder frog. But anyhow, so that's the booyahs. And of course, they have all these long tassels. I might trim these up. These look a little bit long for the body. I might do, a weight before and then after. We'll see how that goes. I'm just going to put these all back. Belly up. All right. The way they were. Gonna try to anyhow. Not the best with folding skirt. Should see my tackle box. I always end up with little frayed skirt pieces in my jigging and rigging box, which is something else that actually I filmed, but I lost the audio to it. I don't know what happened. Like half of the clip was just gone. So we're gonna wrap this up because it's starting to sprinkle a little bit more consistently. But why not get an arc reel with the arc rod? Now I know this is kind of a weird choice. It makes sense company-wise, arc and arc, and the color scheme too. There's black and red. On the rod you get that little hint of red there, and hint of red there. Overall black. Oh, I didn't even go over the specs on this rod, so I kind of did. It's a 6'6" regular medium light, but I didn't get into the line weight. So they recommend 6 to 12 pound, and the lure weight is quite the range here. It's claiming that you can go 1/16 to ½ ounce. So I'll be testing that out, obviously with jigs and frogs. But here we are. This is the Team Arc Gravity BF28 exclusive limited edition. Why is it exclusive limited edition? Because it's the Tackle Warehouse colors. Only at Tackle Warehouse. Inside, first you'll see covering the rod some paperwork telling you about the Roman numeral adjustment system on the brakes, so you can do these larger adjustments and then fine tune it, from what I understand. But there it is, black and red. It's got this kind of carbon fiber arm. Drag looks good, very smooth, doesn't feel geary at all. That wind leveler is kind of short. It moves back and forth quick. This is going to be probably one of the most compact. Now the side plates add some width to it, but overall the spool is pretty compact. Compared to my other reels that I've owned, this one overall feels pretty tiny. I would say even the length of the arms are shorter than my other previous ones. So I've owned a Daiwa Gekabesian, I've owned a Daiwa Silver Creek, I've owned, my first one was Cascane Kestrel, not the Elite, just the regular Bait Finesse model. That was the first reel that I owned, and I paired that with a Shakespeare 7-foot ultralight. So in case you didn't know, you don't have to go with JDM. I think I picked that up on Amazon for like 50 to 60 bucks. May have been closer to 70. I'd have to go through my orders and figure out what I spent on it. But yeah, so I've owned quite a few rods, quite a few reels. I've flipped some here and there. But overall, I would say that the spool width is, narrower. Not quite as narrow as the Gekabesian, but on that playing level. You know, super solid clicking. There's a loud metallic click, almost like a spring action kind of thing going on here. It looks like the brakes may be kind of far up. I don't know. It's on the negative side if I'm reading this correctly. I think the narrower taper is yeah. So that's all the way down. That's super solid. So with my Calcutta Conquest, I noticed that if I kind of just do a slow click here, it ends up kind of not catching right away the clutch, or what I call a clutch, but you know, it doesn't engage quickly. There's no mistaking it. You're either out and this doesn't move at all until it clicks in. What's going on there? Do I already have an issue with this? That was weird. My drag was... Can I trick it into doing that again? If we go too gentle? No. Very weird. You guys saw that, right? I'm a little concerned about this now. Alright. But anyhow, the only reason I was concerned about, you know, going arc with arc is because of this. This is the first time I'm having this kind of, I'm going to call it wiffle ball or wiffled spool. You know, it's got a lot of material taken out of it, which is great for saving weight. But I'm a little concerned about the durability, especially if I'm going medium light on here. This will be heavier lures, so we'll see how it goes. We'll test it out. Worst case scenario, I end up putting a Conquest on this medium light, and this might be the new trout reel. So we'll find a use for it. I always do. Off the bat, I'm not really impressed with the amount of grease that's in there. It's quite visible. Most of my other reels, maybe they're just using a clear grease, and this one's got kind of a whitish bluish tint to it. But I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like it might be over greased. Anyhow, clicking brakes, which is cool. The spool tension does not click, which I do like about the Conquest and wish that this had it. And I actually cannot... Oh, there it goes. It's tough to move. They've got kind of like this little grippy portion here, but it's very, very tiny compared to other reels that I've used. Overall, I like the looks. You know, it's stealthy. It's kind of cool. We'll have to test it out before I say anything else. So let me pack all this stuff back up, get out of the rain. I'm going to do a separate video because for some reason I still haven't gone over setting up your new setup. So look for that video in the future since I have a new setup to set up. A whole lot of setup words. We'll be doing that soon. But like I said, I'm getting rained out here, so I'm going to go inside. I'm going to set this up, and hopefully, even though it's raining, we can get some topwater frog action. We'll see if the bass are biting today. I don't believe it's supposed to rain all day. There should be a break. It's still going to be cloudy for most of the day, but anyhow, that's the birthday stuff. Treated myself. Altogether, I think I spent like $300. So the rod's on sale for $175. I'm pretty sure this is around the same price. Actually, sorry, with tax it was like $363. So, you know, between 3 and 4. But I got also the frogs, which was like 20 bucks, a free t-shirt. So, and these are both limited edition stuff. So we made out pretty well, I think. I'm gonna pack this up real quick, get inside because I am getting soaked. Everything is getting soaked out here. I'm gonna save that in case I have issues. I'm not so sure. You guys saw that little thing happen there where I was trying to reel and it was just clicking drag when there was nothing tied on. So I'm not too keen on that. We'll see how it goes. I know that the ARC reels are highly touted as being really solid, affordable reels. So I'm just stoked that I could get a whole setup for under 400, you know, and it should be quality stuff. It's not the cheapest, you know, it's not a Chinese reel. Not to say that some Chinese reels aren't good, but this was not an Ally Express order. I think that I'm gonna have some fun with this. So it's getting cold now that I've been standing out in the rain, so we're gonna cut it. But that's the birthday toys. Like I said, I'll do a separate video of me setting it up, and then I think in this video today we're gonna test that out. So I'll see you out on the water. All right, testing out that birthday setup. The ARC Gravity paired with the ARC Invoker. I've got the tackle box left in the work truck because I do not feel like bringing all that stuff down here for bass. I don't need the net. I really want to try jigging on this, so we're going to focus on that. If we can't catch him with the jig though, I will possibly put on a frog here. I might just, I don't know, I kind of don't want to cut my leader that I just put on here, but anyhow, take it off the hook holder. It's got some nice weight to it. We got I actually put a TRD craw on there because that's all I had in the bag, and I rigged this up at work, so we'll see how this goes. So we got everything on minimum or on medium for brakes, I guess. We'll see how this goes. Cast nice, didn't backlash on the first cast ever. That is something to be said. Definitely medium light is the way to go. I'm able to bounce the jig without any mush. We'll see how it handles pulling through vegetation. Everything's smooth so far. Immediately, I'm digging it. Get this vegetation off. Let's try and get out there towards the lily pads where I think they're hiding. Pretty quiet so far. I think we should have probably tied on a frog. That was a part of the birthday order, so whatever. We're throwing a jig for now. This is why I got this rod, more or less. The frogs were just for the vegetation, because it is pretty bad around here, as you can see. But that thing launches. No complaints so far. I got grass on my line. Oh, there it goes. Okay, nothing so far. The water looks pretty calm. I don't see any blow-ups. I didn't expect there to be. That was also why I tied a jig on this morning. It's because when I got into town here, it was pretty overcast with some rain, and there was a little bit of wind. So I figured with all the shit going on top of the water, fishing top water would not be the way to go. I will say this Strike King Bitsy bug pulls through very nicely. We are staying more or less weedless, and I have the strength to pull through. I'm not really, you know, bowing out like I was with the ALO. Like, I'd get snagged with the ALO and I just didn't have the backbone to even pull through. I have caught some decent sized bass on the ALO, but I think overall this was a solid choice. Now, this is a moderate action, like I said in the beginning there. So we'll see after we hook up with one how it feels, if I'm able to keep the pressure on. That's the one thing I dislike about most medium extra fast rods, medium light rather. There is, I don't like the way the bearings make that noise. Boy, they really had that star drag loose. Oh, we got a little blow up right there in the lily pads. Maybe I can coax them out or jig right in that. Definitely frogging would have been a better choice, I think. So, after fishing Calcutta Conquest, I will say that this feels just the tiniest bit cheap. There feels like there's too much like wiggle in these, and I could probably just tighten down that set screw and it might work a little bit better. I might do aftermarket knobs, because there is quite a bit of movement there. And it does, I don't know if it's because of the carbon fiber arm making it feel too light. It almost feels kind of cheap because of how light it is. But it palms nicely. It's very compact, so that's one plus. I don't know if that much noise is really good or not. I see some movement in front of me. You guys probably see that too. I'm still getting like false bite feels, although they are a lot less. I will say that. Everything feels pretty solid. We'll see how the sensitivity is when I actually get a bite. See if I can tell the difference. Feels pretty solid. I'll say I like the rod a lot. As far as the reel goes, I'm on the fence about it at the moment. Seems like there's a lot of extraneous noise. But that could be just because of how light it is. Everything probably has less dampening going on because I'm used to that Conquest that's relatively heavy. But let's keep getting out there. Actually, you know what? We're gonna turn those brakes back just a little bit. See if that helps with distance. Oh yeah, you got a little bit more that time. And that's about where I saw them blowing up yesterday when I was fishing the ALO. But as you know, trebles, plugging baits in general, and this kind of nastiness does not work well. So I spent more time catching grass than anything else. Hop that right over the lily pads. Like I said, of course, now the rain stops, the wind's died down, and frogging would be the ideal choice, I think, at the moment. Brakes back a little bit more. We are getting some distance, I will say that. And it is handling the weight well. I didn't think it would, but the reel, that is. I knew the rod would handle the weight. That could be the other thing too, now that I'm thinking of it, because of that whiffled design. It could be causing kind of that whining noise that I'm hearing. I have no idea. Oh, we are down there on battery, so let's make this quick. My thoughts on the complete limited arc setup that I have. I enjoy it. The reel, I'm kind of on the fence about. Again, I don't know if I'm holding it to higher standards because I haven't fished reels under $300 in a while. It's been a couple years. So, that being said, you know, I know it's very lightweight, which can kind of give the illusion of not quality, but it held up, especially for, you know, medium light rod, jigging, pulling it through weeds. Everything felt really good. I will have to get out there when it's a little bit warmer and the bass are a little bit more active to tell you how the sensitivity is. It pulled through weeds great. It handled that heavier jig with ease. So overall, I would say the pairing is good. I'm impressed. Yeah, there's not much to say. Choice well made. I did consult the ever impressive knowledge of the people on Reddit, the BFS forum. And I was gonna go with the Dobyns Curado because it was cheap on Amazon, but I'm glad I decided against that. The rod is a really good deal. It's on par with the Levante. I wish the fit on it, the fit and finish was a little bit better. It seems like kind of the epoxy on the wraps is a little thick. I don't think it needed to be that gummed up. But the rest of it is quality. You know, it's a very nice rod. I have no complaints as far as the utility of it. Like I said, I'll have to actually hook onto some fish to see how it handles and to see what my hookup ratio is with sensitivity. But I think it's going to be there. From what I felt today with pulling through weeds and everything else, I think it should be good. I'll have to get to like an area with a little bit of rocks to feel if I can feel the jig dragging. It's very silty at the lake that I was at, so it doesn't surprise me that I didn't feel a whole lot because heavier jigs just kind of plow the silt away anyhow. So I figured that was gonna happen. I drained the battery. I did way too long filming and not catching anything, but yeah, overall I'd say I made a great choice. I'm happy with the setup. Arc Gravity BFS, definitely worth picking up, especially if you're in that kind of you know, sub 200, around 200-ish category. Like 150 to 175 for a reel is not bad at all, especially with the kind of features that you get with that nice loud clicking drag. The, you know, solid clicking sound with the brake adjustment. The amount of brake adjustment is nice too. It's very comfortable on that Roman numeral 2 setting that they have it set to, kind of midway right out of the box. It feels very good for heavier weight stuff. I would probably set it to Roman numeral 1 if you're doing like Stream and Creek, or you know, those really downsized things, which I've been told that this is capable of. So you know, if you're going on the extreme side of bait finesse, sub 1 gram, you can absolutely do it on the Arc BFS Gravity reel. Gravity BFS reel. Mouth words. I have presents to open up when I get home. Hopefully it's more fishing stuff. If it's not, I'm not going to be disappointed because I spoiled myself. So, yeah. If you guys liked this review and testing of birthday gear, drop a like, maybe subscribe. Give me some birthday wishes in the comments. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Happy belated, because I'm probably not going to be able to upload this by the time my birthday is done. So, anywho, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for checking it out. And if you are in that budget from $200 to $300, you know, maybe step it up just a tiny bit. Get that Invoker rod. I can't believe the quality of that rod. Like I said, it feels like I'm fishing like a $300 rod. Well, I would expect to spend that amount of money on just the rod, and normally it is $250. So if they still have it at Tackle Warehouse on sale, highly suggest getting that rod. It's a steal at $175. I think that's what I paid for it. It might have even been slightly under $175, but hell yeah, I'm stoked. I'm ready for some fall bass fishing. I'll try and split my time between trout and bass. You know me, though. I love the streams and creeks. But I think I finally can carry everything I could possibly need. I have, you know, a plugging setup for bass. I've got now a jigging and frogging setup for bass. And I also have my stream and creek setup, which goes well for even panfish. So, I mean, I've got everything covered. Anything from here on out is just going to be curiosity. You know, I've got everything I need. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks for sticking around through my non-bass catching fishing and listening to what I have to say about this rod and reel combo. Until the next one, toss the tiny stuff, catch the big stuff. 8 ups out.